The alien warship Zathra's Eye drifted in the darkness of space, silent except for the steady hum of its engines. Its crew was restless. Weeks had passed without anything interesting, no pirates, no border fights, not even a lost cargo ship. To inspect, Captain Vorth Laren sat in his chair on the command deck, long claws tapping against the armrest. His large, yellow eyes scanned the holographic star map floating above the table in front of him. The borders of their empire were quiet. Too quiet. The crew expected another boring patrol. Then everything changed. A sharp alarm cut through the silence. The ship's sensors officer, a thin alien with 4 narrow eyes named Tal, leaned over his console. His voice shook. "Captain, I am detecting something at the edge of the system." Vorth straightened. "Define something." Tal's hands danced across glowing controls. "Mass reading, extreme, size." "Captain, it's far larger than any ship recorded in our databases." The deck crew glanced at one another, unease spreading like a cold mist. "Show me," Vorth ordered. The main screen shifted to a distant view. At first, the black shape looked like an asteroid drifting through space. But the closer the camera zoomed, the stranger it became. It wasn't rock, it was metal, and it wasn't drifting, it was moving. Slowly, deliberately, with an almost silent grace. Every plate of its hull carried scars, burn marks, impact craters, yet the ship remained whole. Along its side ran strange symbols the crew didn't recognize, and at its center, something moved. A small rectangle of cloth waved in the vacuum. Colors bright even in the void. Red, white, and blue dot. No alien ship displayed such a thing. Flags were ancient relics used before faster-than-light travel. No one bothered with them anymore. But here it was, fluttering as if the empty void had wind. Tal's voice broke the silence. "Captain, it's sending a signal." "Put it through." A sound filled the deck, not words, not static. Just a single, pure musical note. It was calm. And yet, every alien on the deck felt a strange chill, as if they were being measured. Vorth frowned. "That is not a standard identification code." "It's nothing in our database," Tal confirmed. "Power readings?" The engineer, Rockran, answered. "Captain, this is impossible. The armor density is beyond anything we've seen. Yet the engines, they're running at only 20% output and moving that thing like it's nothing." The crew whispered to each other. Rumors began to spread. Is it a warship? A ghost ship? Vorth made his decision. "Send a hail. Demand they identify themselves." Tal transmitted the message. A pause. Then, through the ship's speakers, a voice replied. Deep, calm, and unlike any species the crew had ever heard. "Do not follow. No name, no threat." Just 3 words. The crew looked to their captain. Vorth's claws tapped on the armrest. Again. A warning this direct only made him more curious. "We follow," he said simply. The Zathra's Eye adjusted its course. Moving into pursuit, the mysterious ship didn't speed up. It didn't slow down. It just kept moving toward the dark edge of the system, like it had a destination no one else could see. Hours passed. The crew watched from a careful distance, scanning every inch of the strange vessel. But every deep scan returned the same result: unknown material detected, unable to penetrate hull. "This is maddening," Rockran growled. "It's like their ship's skin bends our scans away." Vorth's eyes narrowed. "Ships don't just appear from nowhere." "Someone built it." Tal hesitated. "Captain, what if this is from outside our galaxy?" That thought settled heavily on the deck. The galaxy was vast, but they had mapped most of it. There were old legends of ships from beyond, but no proof. Until now, perhaps. Suddenly, the strange ship changed course slightly. A large hatch on its side began to open. "Captain," Rockran said nervously, "it's launching something." On the screen, Massive bay doors slid apart with perfect silence. Inside, shadows shifted. Something enormous moved in the darkness. The crew held their breath. A shape emerged, larger than a fighter, smaller than a frigate, but sleek and deadly looking. Its hull was black, its edges sharp, but it didn't fly away. Instead, it rotated. In space and faced the Zathra's eye directly. Tal whispered, "It's watching us." The alien captain studied the screen. Zoom in. The image grew. The smaller craft had no visible weapons, but somehow it looked dangerous, like a predator studying prey. Then, without warning, it lit a single white light. Bright and focused, aimed straight at the alien warship's bridge. A shiver passed through the crew. It wasn't an attack. It was a message. "We see you." "Captain, incoming transmission," Tal said. "From the big ship?" "No, from the smaller craft. Put it on." The voice returned, the same calm, human tone. "Last warning. Do not follow." This time there was something colder in the voice. Not anger. Not fear. Something worse, certainty. Vorath leaned forward in his chair. "Respond. Tell him we mean no harm, but we want answers." The reply came instantly. "Then you will see, but you may not like what you find." The smaller craft turned, glided back into the huge ship's bay, and vanished. The doors closed. The flagship powered up its engines, fully this time. Every reading spiked. The alien sensors screamed warnings. The ship leapt forward with a burst of speed so violent the Zathra's eyes inertial dampeners strained to keep up. Voret grinned. After them, hours turned into another day of pursuit. The strange ship never tried to lose them, but it also never slowed enough to be caught. It was like a giant shadow leading them deeper and deeper into uncharted space. Finally, Tal spoke. "Captain, they are transmitting coordinates. Where to?" "An uncharted system, far beyond the Empire's borders. A small planet orbited a dying sun there. No known life signs." The message was short. "If you want answers, come." Vorath stood. "Set course." When the alien warship and the strange flagship dropped out of faster-than-light travel, the planet filled their screens. It was dead. Blackened surface, vast craters, cities in ruins, no movement. No life. Only silence. The human ship descended toward the planet. Vorath hesitated. Was this a trap? He turned to his crew. "Prepare a small landing team. We follow." The Zathra's eyes shuttle broke atmosphere, following the massive vessel through the burnt orange skies. The land below was dust and shattered stone. They touched down in what had once been a great city. Towers lay in pieces, streets cracked and empty. The air was thin and bitter. The humans were already there. From a distance, the alien team saw them, tall figures in strange armor, their faces hidden behind clear visors. They moved in silence, scanning the ground with handheld devices. The Toftain aliens approached slowly. No one raised weapons. Vorath stepped forward. "Who are you?" One of the armored figures turned. Through the visor, a pair of human eyes met his, calm, cold, calculating. The human spoke in perfect translation. "We told you not to follow." Vorath didn't flinch. "We wanted to know who you are." The human looked over the ruined city. "We are what is left when something worse comes." Before Vorath could ask more, the ground trembled. Dust fell from the broken towers. A deep rumble grew beneath their feet. The human leader's voice was calm. "You should leave." Vorath stared at him. "Why?" The human looked toward the horizon. The ground shook beneath the ruins. Cracks split the dusty streets, and shards of stone fell from the blackened buildings. Captain Vorath Laren's claws flexed as he steadied himself. His landing team glanced at him, eyes wide, but his focus stayed on the tall human in the strange armor. The human leader stood still, visor reflecting the pale light of the dying sun. He seemed completely calm while the alien team shifted nervously. Voreth's voice was low but sharp. "What is waking?" "Up," the human's reply came without hesitation. "Something your weapons cannot stop." Before Voreth could ask more, the rumble became a roar. The cracked ground split open 100 meters away. A geyser of dust and ash shot into the air. From the shadowed crevice, something moved, something huge. The alien team instinctively raised their rifles. Glowing eyes the size of transport pods opened within the darkness. The creature's shape was unclear, but metal gleamed between jagged bone-like ridges. The human leader's voice carried over the chaos. "Back to your ship." Voreth didn't. "Move. We don't run from unknown threats." The human turned his head slightly. Even through the visor, Voreth felt the weight of that stare. "You will." The massive shape rose higher, dust cascading off its body. It wasn't alive in any normal sense. It was half machine, half something else, older than any technology known. Each movement was silent, but carried the force of mountains shifting. The alien science officer, Tal, scanned rapidly. "Captain, energy readings are no match in our archives. It's older than any recorded civilization." Voreth's communicator crackled. It was his ship. "Captain, the Zathra's eye detects multiple power surges under the surface." "Whatever that thing is, it's not alone." The humans moved with precision. Smaller armored figures ran to the edge of the crevice, placing devices in the ground. They didn't fire. They didn't panic. The leader spoke into a hum of his own. His words were short. "Cycle up, prepare the pulse." Voreth's instincts screamed to retreat, but pride held him there. "Why call us here if you only want us to leave?" The human leader finally turned fully toward him. "Because what is coming will not stop at this world. And you are not ready." A sudden deafening crack split the air. The creature's head, or what passed for one, emerged from the crevice. Plates of black metal layered over a skull-like frame, and deep inside, glowing lines pulsed like a heartbeat. It locked its burning gaze on the alien team. From orbit, the Zathra's eye watched the surface with growing alarm. The ship's crew saw massive movement patterns all across the dead city. The sensors officer shouted to the bridge, multiple entities rising from underground. "Captain Loren's team is in danger." On the ground, the alien soldiers opened fire. Plasma bolts hammered into the creature's armor, but they fizzled against the surface, leaving only faint scorch marks. The human leader didn't even look at them. "Stop shooting. You're just getting its attention." Too late. The creature's gaze fixed fully on Voreth's team. The ground trembled as it took a step forward. Then the sky lit up. From the human flagship in orbit, an enormous bay opened. A deep thrumming sound rolled through the air, even reaching the ground team's helmets. The humans deployed their weapon. It wasn't a beam. It wasn't a missile. It was a wave, a dome of shimmering light that spread from the flagship's position and washed over the ruined city. When it touched the creature, the glowing lines on its body flickered and died. The massive form froze mid-step. Then, like a mountain collapsing, it crumbled into black dust. The alien soldiers stared in disbelief. Tal whispered, "They killed it in seconds." The human leader's voice was flat. "No, we stopped it for now." Voreth's pride burned at the thought that his people's weapons had done nothing, and these strangers had ended the threat so easily. What was that thing? He demanded. The human didn't answer. Instead, he pointed to the horizon. Through the dust haze, more shapes were rising. Back on the bridge of the Zathra's eye, alarms blared. The ship's AI reported incoming energy signatures, large, numerous, closing fast. Voreth's second-in-command, Ravak, looked pale. "Captain, we should pull the team back." Voreth's voice came through the comms. "Prepare the ship's guns. I want targeting solutions the moment we're aboard." The humans were already moving toward their landing craft. The leader spoke into his com. Target all emergent points. Pulse again on my mark. Vorith finally turned to follow. Minutes later, both teams were airborne. The alien shuttle rising shakily, the human craft cutting through the dust like a knife. Above them, the massive flagship loomed, its scarred hull lit by faint blue glows. From deep within as soon as they cleared the atmosphere, the human ship fired again. Waves of light rippled across the planet's surface. Every emerging shape froze, crumbled, and vanished in the same black dust. The alien crew on the Zathrazai stared in silence. Rivak finally spoke. "Captain, their weapon isn't like anything I've seen. It doesn't explode, it shuts things down." Vorith sat in his command chair, watching the flagship. "No, it's not a weapon, it's an answer." The humans hailed them. "You followed. Now you have seen. Do you understand?" Vorith answered honestly, "No, but I want to." A pause, then, "Meet us at these coordinates. Come alone." The coordinates were far from any known trade route, deep into empty space. They arrived hours later. Nothing was there, only a silent black star field. Then space shimmered. A station appeared where there had been nothing. Its structure was massive and ancient, but clearly functional. The humans were waiting. Inside the station, Vorith met the human leader face to face without helmets. The alien captain finally saw the details: pale skin, short dark hair, and eyes that looked older than they should. "You could have destroyed us when we followed you." Vorith said that the human's reply was simple: "We don't destroy unless we must. But we warn those who might be in the path." In the path of what? The human tapped a control. A huge display lit up, a star map showing dozens of systems. One by one, red markers appeared over them. These are worlds that once had life, civilizations. Now they are empty. Vorith stared. What happened to them? The human's gaze was steady. The same thing that was waking on that planet. The human explained, not everything, but enough. The creatures were called harvesters. They were machines built for war long before either species had existed. No one knew who built them. They slept under dead worlds, waiting for signals no one understood. When they woke, they consumed everything. Vorith asked, "And you fight them?" The human nodded once. "We find them. We stop them before they spread. We learned the hard way what happens if we wait." The alien captain frowned. "Why warn us? Why not keep this secret?" For the first time, the human's voice carried weight, not just calm. "Because they are coming. And if they reach your worlds, you will fall in days." Silence filled the chamber. Finally the human said, "Prepare your people. Or next time, you will not survive long enough for us to arrive." Before Vorith could respond, an alarm sounded through the station. The human turned sharply. "Show me." A feed appeared. Dozens of fast-moving ships entering the system. Not human. Not alien. Vorith's blood ran cold. "Who are they?" The human's jaw tightened. "The reason we were here. And the reason." "You should have listened." The lights in the station dimmed. The warning had just turned into a battle. The station shook as alarms screamed. Red lights pulsed along the walls. Captain Vorith Laren turned to the human leader. "What's coming?" The human's eyes were fixed on the display. Dozens of unknown ships, sleek and sharp, dropping out of faster-than-light space like falling knives. "They are scouts," the human said quietly. "If they see us here, they will send the others." "The others?" Vorith asked. The human didn't answer. Instead, he opened a com channel to his flagship. "Bring weapons online. Lock coordinates on the incoming ships. Do not miss." The alien captain's instincts told him to leave. These humans were clearly dangerous, and whatever was approaching was worse. But curiosity had its claws in him now. The scouts broke formation. spreading like a net across the system. From the human flagship, a single flash of light erupted. No missile, no beam, just a silent flare. Seconds later, every scout ship vanished. From the sensors, Vorith's crew stared. What happened to them? The human finally looked at him. We erased them before they could scream. Vorith didn't like the word erased. Silence returned to the station, but the tension didn't fade. The human leader turned toward the display again. They will send more, he said. But not yet. We still have time. Time for what? Vorith asked. The human's reply was simple. To show you why you should be afraid. Hours later, the Zathra's Eye and the human flagship were side by side in the cold dark. The coordinates they were heading toward were deep in uncharted space, a region even Vorith's empire considered empty. The alien crew was restless. Rumors ran from deck to deck. Some said the humans were taking them to a secret weapon. Others believed it would never return. Finally, the destination appeared. It was a planet, small, gray, and lifeless. Its surface was cracked like old stone, with deep scars running from pole to pole. No cities, no oceans, no sign of life. And yet, as they drew closer, sensors screamed warnings of massive underground structures. The human leader's voice came. Over the come. This world was once alive. You will see what happened. Vorith led his landing team into their shuttle. The descent was rough. The thin atmosphere howled against the hull. When they touched down, dust clouds swallowed them. The alien soldiers stepped out into silence. The ground was dark and brittle, breaking under each step. In the distance, the human landing party moved ahead, walking with a purpose. They entered a valley where the ground had split open long ago. Inside the crevice were shapes, the skeletal remains of buildings, vehicles, and something stranger. TAHL, the alien science officer, scanned. These ruins, they are not human, Captain. Vorith crouched beside a half-buried column covered in unfamiliar carvings. Then why bring us here? The human leader spoke from above the crevice. Because they were like you. Strong, confident, and they thought the harvesters were just another enemy to fight. The alien captain stared at the ruins. What happened to them? The human gestured. To the cracked sky. They called for help. We came too late. The humans led them deeper. Soon, the valley opened into what had once been a great city. Massive towers lay toppled like children's toys. Black dust coated everything, so thick it muffled their steps. In the city's center stood a monument, not to heroes, but to the dead. A massive ring of stone held countless names carved into its surface. Tal's voice was low. This is a grave marker for an entire world. The human looked at it for a moment before speaking. We fought here. We won the battle. But it didn't matter. Vorith turned sharply. You just said you won. The human's eyes were cold. Winning means nothing when there's nothing left to save. Suddenly, the scanners on both alien and human devices began to wail. The ground under their feet vibrated. Small stones danced across the dust. The human leader's voice turned hard. Up now. They started running toward the shuttles from above. The Zathra's Eye's crew saw it first. A massive section of the planet's surface collapsing inward. Something was emerging. It was bigger than anything Vorith had seen before. Its body was a twisted fusion of jagged metal and hardened bone, with limbs like cranes and a head like a fortress. The lines of glowing light along its frame pulsed slowly, as if waking from a long dream. Tal's voice broke over the comms. Captain, that's not like the one on the last planet. This is bigger. The human leader didn't look surprised. This is why we came. Watch closely. The alien soldiers aimed their rifles. The human soldiers DIDN single quotes D. Instead, humans began placing strange towers around the area, each one emitting a faint hum. Vorith watched them work. What are you doing? The human leader's answer was short. caging it. The massive creature moved, its limbs crashing into the ground with the weight of mountains. Each impact sent tremors through the city's remains. The alien shuttle's pilot shouted over the comms, "Captain, we should get you out of there." Vorith ignored him. He needed to see this. The humans activated the towers. Blue arcs of energy leaped from one to another, forming a dome around the creature. The harvester froze. Its glowing lines flared brightly, then began to dim. From orbit, the human flagship fired a single massive pulse. The dome flashed. The harvester convulsed and then collapsed into dust. The alien soldiers stared. One finally asked, "Why not destroy the planet? If these things are buried here, why not burn it?" The human leader looked at the black dust where the harvester had fallen. "Because some of them are deeper than fire can reach, and if you burn the surface, they wake faster." They returned to orbit. From the bridge of the Zathra's Eye, Vorith watched the human flagship. Its hull still bore the scars of countless battles, yet its presence seemed unshakable. The human leader contacted him one last time. "Now you've seen what sleeps under dead worlds. Do you still think your fleets can face them alone?" Vorith didn't answer immediately. His pride resisted, but his instincts told him the truth. No, they could not. Before the human cut the channel, he left Vorith with words that stayed with him long after. "They will come for your worlds. When they do, you will remember this place. And you will remember that you are not ready." Far away, beyond the edge of any star map, something stirred. A signal pulsed through the darkness, faint, but ancient dot under dozens of dead planets. The harvesters began to wake. The ground trembled again, deeper and louder than before. The air was thick with dust and the scent of metal and earth. Captain Vorith Loren felt the vibration through the soles of his boots. He looked around at his crew. Their faces showed a mix of fear and wonder. They had faced many threats before, but this was different. Something far older, far stronger. The alien warship Zathra's Eye hovered in orbit above the dead planet, its sensors fixed on the ruins below. The human flagship, scarred and glowing with strange blue lights, held position beside them. Vorith's cum crackled. It was the human leader again, calm but serious. "It's waking up. Prepare yourselves." The sun, a dim red ball in the sky, cast long shadows across the shattered city. Suddenly, the cracked earth split open like a giant wound. From the depths came a monstrous shape, part machine, part living bone. Its limbs were huge cranes made of black metal, with jagged edges sharp enough to slice mountains. Its body was armored in overlapping plates that looked like bones fused with steel. Glowing blue veins pulsed along its arms and torso. It lifted its massive head, a fortress of metal and teeth, and fixed its burning eyes on the alien soldiers. Vorith swallowed hard. This was no ordinary enemy. The human leader's voice came over the cum again. "Do not shoot unless I order. We need to study it first." The alien soldiers hesitated. Their plasma rifles were ready, but they lowered their weapons. Vorith glanced at Tal, the science officer, who was already scanning the creature. "Captain, the energy readings. This thing is alive, but it's also a machine. It's ancient technology, older than our empires." The creature moved slowly, its massive limbs crushing buildings beneath them. Its glowing veins pulsed stronger. As if it was waking from a long sleep, the humans began placing strange towers around the ruins. Each tower hummed with energy and connected with blue arcs of light. Vorith watched closely. "What are they doing?" The human leader replied calmly, "We're creating a cage to hold it." The ground shook violently as the creature struggled against the invisible force. The alien soldiers gripped their weapons tighter, fear mixing with awe. "Captain, we should pull back." One officer shouted. Voreth shook his head. "No, we must see this through." The creature's glowing veins flared brightly. It let out a low, grinding roar that shook the very air. The blue energy dome grew brighter, crackling with power. Suddenly, the human flagship in orbit fired a massive pulse. The wave of light swept down and hit the dome. The creature convulsed violently, glowing veins flickering like dying stars. Then, it collapsed. Dust rose and settled where the giant machine had fallen. The alien soldiers stared in disbelief. TAHL broke the silence. They stopped it in seconds. Vorith was quiet, pride mixed with confusion. How? The human leader looked at the fallen machine. With knowledge, power is not enough. You must understand your enemy. The alien captain nodded slowly. We have much to learn. Suddenly, the ground rumbled again. Smaller machines, sharp and fast, burst from hidden tunnels. The humans moved quickly, launching drones the size of buildings. The drones were silent and armed, but scanned every creature. The alien soldiers fired their plasma rifles. Their bolts struck the small machines but did little damage. The human leader called out. Stand down, don't waste ammo. The drones surrounded the smaller machines, releasing pulses that shut them down quietly. Vorith realized humans fought differently, not just with force, but with precision and control. After the fight, the humans gathered the alien team. The human leader's voice was firm. This is just the beginning. More will come. Vorith frowned. How can you be so sure? The human looked him in the eyes. Because we have faced them before. We lost many worlds, but we learned. The alien captain swallowed his pride. We need your knowledge. Back on the Zathra's Eye, the alien engineers studied the human strange towers. Rockran, the engineer said. Their technology is unlike anything we have. It blocks the machines completely. Vorith nodded. We will need to adapt. The human leader contacted them once more. We will teach you. But time is short. Vorith felt the weight of the coming war settle on his shoulders. The galaxy was no longer safe. As the sun dipped below the horizon, the dust settled. But deep beneath the surface, the harvesters stirred. The battle for survival had only just begun. The air inside the human flagship was heavy with quiet tension. Captain Vorith Lorraine sat across from the human leader in a small, dimly lit room. The walls glowed faintly with soft blue lights, casting long shadows. For the first time, the alien captain saw the full weight of what he had stepped into. The human leader leaned forward, his eyes sharp and steady. You want answers, he said simply. Vorith nodded. Why did you hide all this? Why did you warn us only now? The human's voice grew cold. Because we were not ready. We needed time. Vorith frowned. Time for what? The human smiled. But it was not warm. To prepare. To fight back. He stood and moved to a large holographic table in the center of the room. With a wave of his hand, the table lit up with a star map. Red markers dotted several systems. These worlds, the human said, were once thriving. Full of life, just like yours. Vorith stared at the glowing points. What happened to them? The human's face darkened. They fell to the harvesters. Vorith leaned closer. The machines we saw? The ones you fought? The human nodded. Yes, they are an ancient enemy. Machines built for war, long before either our species existed. The human leader swiped across the map. New images appeared, ruined cities, dead planets, silent stars. We lost many colonies, we fought hard, but we were not ready. He paused, looking directly at Vorith. But we survived, we learned. Vorith's eyes narrowed. Learned what? The human's answer was clear. That force alone cannot win. You must understand your enemy's nature, their weaknesses, their patterns, their history. He turned to a wall covered with data streams. We built weapons not just of fire, but of knowledge. Vorith studied the screens. Blueprints of strange machines, energy patterns, ancient codes. Your technology is advanced. The human smiled slightly. It is, but it is also born of desperation. He looked back at Vorith. You must prepare your people. They are coming for your worlds. The alien captain felt a chill. How long do we have? The human's voice was grim. Not long. We estimate less than a year before the next wave. Vorith stood, the weight of the news settling heavily. And what happens if we fail? The human's gaze hardened. Then your worlds will fall as theirs did. Vorith swallowed hard. How can we fight such a force? The human smiled, faint but confident. Together, suddenly, the ship's alarms blared. The room shook. The human leader's expression changed instantly. They found us. Vorith grabbed his weapon. Prepare for battle. The humans and aliens rushed to their stations. Outside, the stars blazed with incoming ships, dark, sharp, and deadly. The human flagship roared to life, shields flaring as weapons powered up. Vorith stood on the bridge, side by side with the human captain. This is not just a fight for survival, Vorith said. The human nodded. It is a fight for the future. As the enemy fleet closed in, both crews steeled themselves. The galaxy held its breath. The dark space outside the flagship's windows was filled with flickering lightships, weapons, and distant stars burning cold. Captain Vorith Loren stood on the bridge of the Zathra's Eye, his claws gripping the railing as his eyes scanned. The enemy fleet, the massive ships of the harvesters, moved like shadows through the void, their shapes sharp and threatening. They came fast, silent, deadly. Beside him, the human commander tightened his jaw. This is it, the human said quietly. The fight for everything. Vorith nodded. We are not ready. The human's eyes met his. No, but we will be. The enemy fleet advanced without warning. Bright beams of energy shot across the darkness, striking ships on both sides. Explosions lit the void in deadly bursts. The alien and human crews fought together as one. Plasma cannons fired, missiles launched, and electronic warfare crackled through the air. The Zathra's Eye shook under heavy fire. Shields flared and dipped dangerously low. Captain! Rockran shouted from the engineering bay over the com. The main engines are overheating. We might lose propulsion. Vorith clenched his teeth. Hold them. We must not lose speed. On the human flagship, the captain barked orders. Activate the pulse generators. Fire on my mark. A massive wave of blue energy pulsed through space. Enemy ships caught in the blast flickered and disappeared. The alien crew cheered. But the enemy was relentless. Deep below the surface of the dead planets, the harvesters awoke in greater numbers. Their machines crawled up from the ground like black nightmares, hungry for destruction. Vorith remembered the warnings, the ruined worlds they had seen. They fight to erase life, he muttered. The human leader nodded grimly. We fight to protect it. As the battle raged, Vorith led a strike team in a daring mission. Their target, a massive harvester control ship, the heart of the enemy. Fleet. In their shuttle, the team raced through debris and fire, dodging enemy fire. Keep steady, Vorith ordered. They reached the enemy ship's hull and began their assault. Inside, the ship was a maze of cold metal and dark corridors. The strike team planted explosives on key systems. Suddenly, alarms blared. They know. We're here, shouted one soldier. Vorith raised his weapon. Then let's finish this. Back in space, the flagship and Zathra's Eye continued their fierce battle. Enemy fighters swarmed, but combined alien-human tactics held them back. The human captain called out, "We've lost too many ships. We need a miracle." Vorith's voice was steady. "We will give them one." Inside the harvester control ship, the explosives counted down. Vorith led his team to the escape pods. They launched just as the ship exploded in a fiery blast. The shockwave rocked nearby vessels. In space, the enemy fleet faltered. Their leadership's destruction sent chaos through their forces. The combined fleet pushed forward. The battle was brutal and long. Many ships were lost. Many brave souls fell. But the enemy's advance slowed in the aftermath. Vorath and the human leader met again. "We fought hard," Vorath said. The human nodded. "But we are still not ready." Vorath's eyes were steady. "Then we prepare. We learn. We grow stronger." The human smiled. Together. The galaxy was still dangerous, but hope remained. And humanity and its allies would fight on. The end.